The main purpose of WordPress SEO by Yoast is to add titles and meta descriptions to pages and posts. But WordPress SEO also gives you detailed control over titles, descriptions, and other content for the rest of the site. This is important because people will often search for and share index pages such as the homepage, category, archive, tag, and other taxonomy pages, and even search pages and search results. You can configure all of these under the Titles and Meta section, found under SEO and Titles and Meta. When you open the Titles and Meta settings, you land on the General tab, and this tab is one I wouldn't change, because all these settings are either set by the plugin based on your current site, or they're standard settings that should be applied in most cases. So the only time I'd ever change something in here is if I knew that there was some sort of setting here that needed to be changed specifically for my custom installation. Instead, let's move on to the rest of the content. First off, you have a homepage. This is where you can set the title template and the meta description template for your homepage. So just like with the all-in-one SEO pack plugin, here you can put in a default description for the homepage. So if people share your homepage on social media, or if someone finds your homepage on a search engine, they'll see that meta description. So here again, I would put in Of course, you don't have to add static text like this. You can also add dynamic content by using one of these macros. You'll notice that these macros don't match the previous macros from the previous plugin. Instead, you have new macros. So if I click Save Settings here, just to save what I did, you can go to Help, and here you get a list of all the macros that are available. And as you can see, this plugin has far more macros available, allowing you to make more customized messages than the previous one. I'll show you how these work by going to the post types. Under post types, you can customize templates for each of the post types. By default, WordPress has three main post types. You have posts, you have pages, and you have media. And for each of these, I can now set a title template, I can set a meta description template, and I can also configure whether or not robots can index the page. So if I check this, it means they cannot index or follow it. I can uncheck authorship, meaning do not show what author it is in the meta description. I can choose whether or not I want the date to appear in the snippet, and I can also toggle the SEO meta box on and off. If it's toggled off, it means I can't add SEO information to that particular post type. And in some cases, you may have a custom post type where you don't need to add SEO information, and this is where you would turn it off. But I said I wanted to use a macro here to simplify the process. So if you look at this, you can see under posts, we have a title template that says the title of the post or the page, and then it has a separator, and then it says the site name. What if I also wanted to auto-generate a description? Well, in that case, I can go to Help and find whatever I want to display in the description by default. And in this case, I want to use the excerpt. So I'm going to copy excerpt here, go back to post types, and paste in excerpt. That way, the excerpt that's defined in my post will automatically also become the SEO description unless I manually change it. This will drastically simplify the process if you're used to using the excerpts in your posts. So I'm going to scroll down and click Save Changes. And now under post types, I have my custom setting. Under taxonomies, you have the same exact setup. You can set the title template and the description template for each of the categories, tags, and other custom taxonomies you have. In my case, I also have one called format because I have a custom post type. You can also choose to not index them or even hide the meta box for each. And you may be wondering why you need to hide a meta box. Well, if you go to a category, so I'll open it in a separate tab and I'll go into my category. You'll see in addition to your regular category settings that come from WordPress, name, slug, parent, and description, you now also have SEO settings for each of your categories. Here you can put in an SEO title, an SEO description. You can set the canonical link. You can set a breadcrumbs title if you're using breadcrumbs. And you can also choose to no index each individual category and whether or not you want to include this particular category in your sitemap. It's a very advanced feature, but in many cases you may want to turn it off because the person who's going to be using the site is not going to use these features. Under Other, you have additional pages that don't fit under taxonomies, such as author archives that show all the posts from a particular author, or date archives that show all the posts published on a certain date or a certain month, and special pages like the search pages and the 404 pages. So here again, you can highly customize this information to make it fit with your site and your specific needs. So why do you want all of these settings? Well, the answer is quite simply that this plugin can't guess what every single site is going to look like. And there are many sites where you need to reconfigure some of these settings to fit with a certain usage scenario, a certain language, or a certain target audience. So here you can go in and either use the default settings or customize them to fit your particular needs.